and welcome to Beyond the Bio. Today's guest is Sasha Core, founder of the Salon Owners Club and a business mentor helping beauty and aesthetics entrepreneurs build more profitable, sustainable businesses. Sasha opened her skincare clinic in Kettering at just 25, and from the outside, everything looked like it was going brilliantly. She was fully booked, growing fast, and building a strong reputation. But behind the scenes, the reality was very different. Sasha was stressed, burnt out, struggling with debt, and trapped in a business that depended entirely on her. Since then, Sasha has transformed that business into a £1 million revenue company, and perhaps more importantly, one that can thrive without her being involved in every detail. And now she's helping other salon and clinic owners do the same. In today's episode, we're talking about the gap between how success looks from the outside and how it can feel behind closed doors, the pressure of being the face of your business, and how Sasha has built a powerful personal brand while navigating a major business pivot. Sasha, welcome to Beyond the Bio.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you for having me here.
This is such an interesting story. I feel like I've got so many questions to ask you, but let's start with this version of success that people saw from the outside. So when your salon was fully booked and growing, what were people assuming about your life and business, and what was really going on?
Yeah, all I ever heard was, Sasha, you're smashing it. You're doing so well. You must be so proud of yourself. Look how far you've come. And I would smile and say thank you. And I would never actually share what was going on behind the scenes. And that was coming from an external side. So that was friends, family, clients. But on the inside of the business, some of my team members also thought that. They also thought, oh, look at all this money we're bringing into the business. Sasha's doing really well. You know, why aren't we getting rewarded so? And so it was very, very difficult. It was two different stories, the one that was being shown externally and then the real life behind the scenes. And I think, you know, anyone in business knows that story. You can look very successful. You can look like you are super busy, which you are. But actually, if the business isn't working at its most effectively, then yeah, sometimes you can actually be just trying to catch a breath, just trying to keep going every month.
It's stressful, isn't it? And you've spoken openly about stress, debt, and burnout. How difficult was it carrying that while you're still showing up as the successful business owner?
It was really difficult. So I think the first 3 years of business were great. You know, I was in the throes of ambition, a little bit of delusion sprinkled in, and I was just running off adrenaline. I was so proud and so happy that I'd built a business and people wanted me. And so for the first 3 years were great. But then after that, that's when the next level of business came. It was the VAT threshold. It was expanding the team. It was getting a bigger premises. It got very stressful very, very quickly. And the stress I'm relating to was having a busy business, having clients, having demand, but actually at the end of every month, there was no money left. And so for years, I would say for about 7 years, I just constantly kept fighting the cycle, thinking if I did more, if I work more, if I just push that little bit harder, eventually it's all going to fall into place, because surely if I just do more. And I put on this brave face for years in front of everybody, friends, family, definitely the clients and the team. I didn't let any of them know that, you know, actually behind the scenes wasn't so rosy. And it got to a stage where I just thought, I don't know if I can carry on with this, because where is the reward? I'd sacrificed a lot. 7 years in, relationships were falling apart, friendships, personal relationships. I had no time for family. I became obsessed with the business. It had to work. So it was a really, really difficult time. And it took me, unfortunately, that long to actually look outside of myself and think, well, Sasha, maybe you need help. Maybe you need somebody who is further on the way you are now, and maybe you actually need to learn from them because something you're doing isn't quite right. And that's exactly what I did, and it was the best thing.
And was it like this build up to get to that point where you just then suddenly had this realization, or was there a specific moment where something had happened and it had made you get to that point?
It was a build up. I would find myself shutting down. I would go home at the end of the day and I would just shut down. I didn't want to speak to anybody. I didn't want to be bothered. I didn't want to be on my phone. And I was literally distancing myself. I didn't realize it, but I was distancing myself from everything, everybody. And there was this one event, and I think this is my pivotal point. There was one event that I sort of arranged with my friends. It'd been in the diary for about 2 months, and I could not wait. I could not wait to get out, to have fun, to laugh, to forget about life and forget about business. And during that evening, two of my friends had a bit of a fallout, and the night came to an early end. And I was so upset. I couldn't even understand why I was so upset about it. But it was at that point I just thought, I hate what I'm doing. I hate my life. I shouldn't have to wait 2 months to have a good time. And so it was then I thought, right, something's got to change now.
So then you said you took some action, and your action was to work with a mentor or a coach, is that right?
Yes.
And what did they do for you? How did that change things so much?
Well, it helped me, honestly. It's the best investment I've ever made in myself. And it's something that I consistently do. I always think we can always be learning, we can always
Yeah,
be
totally
developing.
agree.
I think, in my industry, especially the beauty, the hair industry, a lot of people who go on to build their own salons are very good at their skill and their craft. They're very good with their clients. They're in demand, and that's why they naturally feel the next step is to, open their own salon, their own business.
Mm.
However, what comes with that is zero business skill. And so you build a really busy business, a busy salon, but you have zero business skill. And that is where I was lacking. I'd been winging it for 7 years. And I thought, right, I need a mentor to help me learn business. I want to know my numbers. I want to know marketing. I want to know how to build a brand. I want to know all these various skills, all the different cogs in a business that actually let it function.
And how long did it take you to get those results and be able to kind of take that step back and feel like things felt different for you?
So almost instantly, I think the
Wow.
moment I'd actually taken that step, and straight away I felt a release off my shoulders. I just thought, oh my gosh, I've finally done something. I know what I'm going to learn now is going to help me in the future. And so I absorbed everything like a sponge. I was in a state of desperation. I needed things to change rapidly. And so within the first year, I'd managed to transform a lot of the business. A lot of what I was doing was wrong. I wasn't doing certain things the best way. So I implemented them straight away. And it was fantastic. And within 3 years, I was completely out of the salon.
And your salon, you've built this huge audience and a loyal following over the years. What do you think has now helped you kind of stand out in what's quite a crowded marketplace?
There's various aspects to help you stand out. Obviously, you have to be very active in your marketing. You always have to be visible. People need to know about you at all times. Even if you are a salon that's fully booked, you still need to have visibility out there because people will naturally drop off. People might move away. You have to be having a consistent flow of new clients, every day, every week, every month through the business. Other than that, the one thing I really am very passionate about is how you make a client feel. So I am deeply passionate about the client journey. And I think that is the one part of your own brand that nobody can ever take from you. Nobody can ever copy you, because if your clients can fall in love with you, fall in love with your salon, fall in love with the experience, absolutely everything you have to offer, I think that is what is going to make you stand head and shoulders above the competition.
I totally agree. I totally agree with that. And you've now gone from building a salon brand to building your own personal brand as Sasha Core. How different has that felt for you?
Very, very. It's been new territory. So with my salon, it does have my name above the door. And so I have always been quite actively in front of the audience. However, building more of a personal brand it's definitely made me come out of my comfort zone. I am naturally actually I wouldn't say I'm an introvert, but I definitely am more that way than an extrovert. And I'm not somebody that whips out a camera at every given time and moment and wants to document my life. I'm quite private really. So it has been a learning curve.
What kinds of activities have you done to promote you as a brand that have worked or maybe not worked? Like,
Mm.
what sort of things have you tried?
So I'm always trying. I think in business, you always have to just put yourself out there and try various things and see what lands best for you. So PR, I think, is always great. You know, get things like this, getting in on podcasts, in magazines, features where your ideal audience, your ideal clients are hanging out is always great. Getting on stages, retreats. But you know, we do a lot of marketing. We run a lot of ad campaigns. We have our social media where we try to nurture, build relationships that way. You know, we've got active campaigns where we're consistently bringing new leads into our database that, again, we can build relationships with.
Mm. And the other thing is that you're now speaking to two different audiences in some ways. So you're speaking to consumers through the salon and obviously business owners through the Salon Owners Club. How have you navigated that pivot without damaging either of the brands?
That is a very good question because, so as you know, like when you're setting up a business, it takes your everything. You're all into that. You know, you need to give it 100%, which means a lot of your attention gets diverted from one into the other. And when I first started working on the Salon Owners Club, that did take 100% of my attention. And although I've got a team running the salon, you know, I don't really need to actually be there anymore. I did notice the dip in performance from the salon because all my attention had been diverted over here. So obviously you learn, don't you? So now what I do, I'm actually very, very strict with my diary. I have set days where it's just purely salon based, focused on our marketing campaigns, what we're doing for the future, our vision, and then the other days are focused on the Salon Owners Club. And I try to keep them very separate, and I try to be strict with my schedule.
Mm-hmm. That's always good. And you kind of, touched on this with, the pressure that you felt, and we do see, don't we, that founders carry this almost invisible weight of feeling like they should always be doing more. What have you learned from your experiences about that pressure and how to manage it better so that you're not feeling so overwhelmed?
I think sometimes there's a lot of external pressure. And what I mean by that is I think a lot of the time we compare ourselves to others, and we also think we should maybe be doing certain things that we are not. And I was very guilty of that for a very long time. I always felt like I should do more. I should have a bigger salon. I should have a bigger team. I should have a second premises. But actually, that is how I ended up so exhausted, so stressed out. And so now what I do and what I actually encourage all the salon owners I work with is to actually identify what's going to make you happy, like really happy. Because often it's not what you think you should do, it's the complete opposite. And so find out what's actually going to make you happy and then work your business in order to make that happen. You don't have to have the biggest business, the biggest team, earning £1 million, £2 million. You might be really happy working 1 day a week, 2 days a week, bringing in £40,000. Okay. And so I think that is one of the biggest things, is actually to remove stress, is to work out what you actually want, not what you think you should have. And also to build a really powerful team around you that can help and support, and you can delegate tasks to other people. It's not actually your responsibility to do absolutely everything.
There's so much great advice in there, because I think with everything that we see online now, like we're so sucked in, aren't we, to this idea of what success is, and it's having all these shiny things and it's doing this and it's doing that and it's earning this amount. But actually, that's really great advice, just working out what does that mean for you. And actually for some people it might mean having more time to do things
Yes.
that they love doing. It's so not just a one size fits all. If someone is watching or listening right now and they feel like they look successful on paper, but they're feeling privately like massively overwhelmed, like you once were, what would you say to them is the starting point to start taking hold on that?
I think the first thing to do would be to zoom out. So remove emotion, zoom out and look at the bigger picture of where you are right now. Where do you want to be? And like I say, what's going to make you happy? And then actually look at the things that's happening in the business right now that maybe isn't aligned with what you want, and start making decisions that are going to put you on the right path. Don't just stay doing what you're doing on that hamster wheel. Actually look at the team. Are you maximizing the team most effectively, or are you actually still trying to carry absolutely everything? There is always people around you that can support you, but I think you do sometimes just have to take a breath and have a moment and work out, have you actually just gone completely off track where you were initially headed? Because I think that often happens. And so, realign yourself. What's going to make you happy? Where do you want to be even in 3 months' time? What one win, what one change can you do that's going to put you back on that path? And just do that. And one of the most important things I do every day is there's always an endless to-do list, isn't there, in business, in life?
Yeah.
But I think pick the top 3 things out of your entire list that are actually going to move the needle in your business. Not the things you want to do, because they're often the easiest. The 3 things that really, if you do complete them, you will see a difference. You will see a win. And then out of those top 3, just pick one and only complete that. And then once you've completed that, move on to the second, then move on to the third. And this, I think, also minimizes that feeling of overwhelm, because rather than 20 things, we've now only got 3 things that we're looking at.
Feels way more achievable, doesn't it, when you break it down in that way? Love it. So what's next for you, for the Salon Owners Club? What have you got coming up?
Yeah, so life is very, very busy. The salon itself is thriving, so that's absolutely great. There's no big plans for that at the moment. We are just doing our thing, looking after our clients. But with the Salon Owners Club, yes, we've got great clients now, one-to-one clients. So at the moment, there's currently only space for another 2 salon owners to join us. So I spend all my time focusing on my clients, giving them the very best experience, getting them their wins, building a business that isn't reliant on them anymore. So yeah, hopefully I'll be on more podcasts and getting myself out there and just continuing to build the brand.
Perfect. Love it. So, Sasha, if anyone watching or listening hasn't come across you before, where's the best place for them to find you?
So the best place is probably on Instagram, to be honest. It's where I hang out a lot. So our handle is just the Salon Owners Club.
Nice. Okay, and we'll pop that in the show notes to make it super easy for people to find you and connect. Sasha, it's been great speaking to you. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
No, thank you so much, Sophie. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening. If you're serious about growing your profile, take our free profile assessment quiz to see where you're at right now and get hints and tips on how to improve your score. You'll find the link to the quiz in the show notes. If you've enjoyed the episode, it would be mint if you'd subscribe, like, and leave a review. See you next Monday.